I'm back, it's okay imagery again, and I'm back with another VFX breakdown. In this video we'll be recreating this effect, this levitating effects from Seyi Vibez video Shaolin, directed by TG Omori. Before we can recreate this effect, there are things we need to first understand. Of course, this is not a new effect. This category of effect is usually referred to as magical realism, but this type is called levitating effect or floating effect, where the subject is portrayed to be rising above the ground or floating or is mid-air. I've been trying to shoot this effect for a while now, I think for months now, and I've even had to shoot this effect severally before I could get to this point. The first try was a very terrible experience. It was bad. The second try was better before I could get it at the third try. So when people say directors are charging too much for music videos, I'm like, you guys don't know what these people have to put together to make sure the shot is achievable, and most importantly the shot is safe to achieve, to even try. So to create the illusion that the subject is floating, we need something that can carry the subject. Since we don't have a budget for a crane, I was able to get a studio where at least I can hang myself.
Are you serious?
Like, not hang like, I mean carry my weight, like an hanger that can carry my weight.
You gonna explain tire?
There's an iron that is cemented on the ceiling. It's meant for fan, but it's strong enough to carry my weight, so that is what we'll be using instead of a crane. Another thing about this place is that there's a green screen close to the hanger, and it's just so perfect for what we want to use it for. So thanks to Momnex M3 for making their studio available for us. Next thing we need to get is a harness or a body rig. At first I got this rope to hang myself. I hope you guys know I'm not talking about, when I say hang, I mean I made the harness with this rope on my body to hang myself, but it didn't work perfectly. Plus I was in so much pain after the shoot, so if you are shooting your clients, you don't want to subject them to that kind of pain, so don't try this at home. Plus it doesn't work in edits. When I tried editing it, it was really bad. It was terrible. It was lifting my clothes up, so I couldn't use it. So I had to go get a harness. I entered a safety store and I was able to get this for 45,000 naira. That's around $30, and it worked perfectly. Although even with this harness I was unable to get it on the second try. This is because I put this hanging rope up here at the back here instead of putting it at the waist level here, so it was giving me a lot of issue. It was putting my clothes up, it was lifting my clothes up, and that is really bad in edits. Another thing we need to pay attention to is the wardrobe. That is the clothes the subject is wearing. This will help conceal a lot of things, so it's best if the subject is wearing a hoodie or a jacket like Seyi Vibez is wearing. Luckily my brother was at my place recently and he forgot his hoodie, so we borrowed it. Another thing is the color of your harness. If your harness has different colors like mine, this is red color, it's going to give you another problem in edits. So it's better to spray this or paint it or tape a green tape around it. It will be easier to just key it out, so it will make your job easier. But if you can't do that, there's a way around it and I will show you how to do that. So the last thing we need to do now is to go outside and shoot the environment. That is the environment you want to place your green screen on, the subject that you just shot, where you want to place it on. So the only thing you need to pay attention to now is the perspective, the camera angle. Check out the camera angle that you shot the green screen. Make sure you are shooting that same perspective, the same camera angle while shooting the environment. And when you are satisfied with it, let's go to our editing software. But before we go, shout out to MDRs, Pop and Nexi for helping out with this video.
Why are you gay?
So now we are in After Effects, and the first thing we need to do in After Effects is to import our clip to the project. So I'm going to go to Finder, then I'm okay with this clip, so I'm going to import the clip to the project. So once this is imported to the clip, I'm going to come to this create new composition. So I'm going to come to this icon here and say create a new composition. So I'm going to set it to 1080 by 1920. So you see why I'm setting it to this size very soon. So I'm going to call this green screen, or say subject, then okay. So I'm going to bring this green screen to this subject. So now you see that this clip is not well aligned to the composition. So I'm going to open up rotation by clicking R, then set this to -90. So now it is aligned. What I'm going to do now is to trim this part to exactly where I need in this clip. So I'm just going to click, I just need few seconds, so I'm just going to cut out few seconds. So around here is good. So I'm going to click on Command Shift D on Mac or Control Shift D on Windows to cut this part. Then so let me delete this, then move some frames forward, from some seconds forward, and then I'm going to do the same thing, Command Shift D, to cut this part away. So I'm okay with this few seconds with this clip. So I'm going to bring it to the front of this clip, to the start of this timeline like this. Then come to the end of this clip and click on N to close this work area. So I'm going to right click on this and say trim comp to work area. So now we are only going to work, it's only going to show me the area that I need now. So the next thing I'm going to do is to come to Effect and Presets, then add the key light effect to key out the green screen. So I'm going to add the key light effect, drag it to this clip, and say, so I'm going to key out the green screen. So let's come to this screen mat to adjust some few settings to make sure our green screen is perfect. So once you are done adjusting the green screen, what we need to do now is to mask out this area that we don't need, that is not green. So I'm going to come to this toolbar, select the pen tool, then mask around the areas that we need like this. Carefully mask around it, just like this. So I'm going to move this up a bit, just a rough mask around it, so it doesn't need to be really perfect. So you can see we have our subject in focus. So if you look closely at this clip, you see that there is a rope here and we don't need this rope, so we need to cut this rope out of it. Then there are some black areas here. The green screen is not that perfect. The green screen on the floor is not that perfect, so we need to cut this out. So there are two ways you can do this. The first is to use the mask tool. Come to this place and select the mask tool, then animate the mask, but that is a very long process. Although the clip is kind of short, so you can still do that if you have the time, but the easier way to do this is to come to this place, this same toolbar, and select the roto brush. So that means we are doing the rotoscope. So let's go for the rotoscope option. So to do the rotoscope, I'm going to double click this layer to open this up like this, then come to this toolbar and click on this roto brush tool. So if you see the roto brush, this roto brush now is very small. So to adjust the settings, the size of the roto brush, click on Command or Control on your keyboard, and then drag up and drag down your mouse to adjust the size of the roto brush. So I'm okay with this size. So what I'm going to do now is to paint around this subject just like this. Carefully paint around the subject, the areas that you need. Okay, so it's not yet, so I need this part also, so I'm going to paint around it. Yeah, just like this. So look closely. So this area, I don't want this part of it, so I'm going to adjust the roto brush down like this, then click on Alt to deselect this area. So I'm going to paint around it just a little bit more. Okay, something like this. So what we need to do now, you can now either move some frame forward, frame by frame, and start adjusting, or you can let After Effects analyze all the footage for you by just dragging this timeline indicator all the way down to the end of the clip, and let After Effects analyze the footage for you.
A few moments later.
So once After Effects is done, you can check back, preview your clip, and see if After Effects has done a good job for you. But if you are not okay with what After Effects has done, you can always adjust the rotoscope. But for me, for the sake of this tutorial, I don't want this tutorial to be unnecessarily long, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So let's go back to the composition. So now that we have worked on the green screen and we are okay with what we have, so what we are going to do next is to import the background, the environment we want to put this our subject on. So I'm going to go here. I have this environment here that I took, so I'm going to import it to the clip, to the project. So what I'm going to do now is to make another composition, and make this composition full HD 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to drag both the subject and the environment to this composition. So this environment here, what I did here is to zoom in. So I have a camera zoom in shot here. So what I'm going to do is to trim this environment. Let me rename this environment. So I'm going to trim this environment clip to where I need. So I'm going to press Ctrl Shift D to cut this part. Then let me bring this to the start of this timeline. So I'm just going to move this below this, like this, below the subject. So let me move to where this subject ends, around there. I'm going to cut this environment clip again by pressing Ctrl Shift D. Let me delete this. So I'm going to move to the end of this clip and say, and press N. So the same thing I did earlier, I'm going to trim this composition to work area again, so I can just only see where I'm working at. So if I preview this, you will see that the subject is not moving, is not syncing with this background, with the environment. So what we are going to do is to fix this to make sure it is syncing with the environment, with the camera zoom. So to do that, we are going to, so let me just turn off this audio for now. So I'm going to click on this environment, then come to tracker. If you can't find tracker here, come to window and select tracker. Make sure tracker is checked. So if it is checked, you will see tracker here. So you can see the tracker here. So what we are going to do now is to track the camera movements of this shot, this environment shot. But first, let me turn off this audio, then turn off this subject layer for now. So I'm going to click on this environment layer and then say track camera. So I'm going to let After Effects analyze the footage.
2000 years later.
So once After Effects is done analyzing the footage, you will see some dots here. So this dot is where we are going to place the subject to. So I'm going to look for a good spot where I can place my subject. So around here works for me. So I'm going to right click here and say create solid and camera. So it's going to create this solid right here, and it's going to create a 3D tracker camera right here. So I'm going to click on this track solid one and right click, then pre-compose. So what I'm going to do now is to leave all attributes in composition one. So okay, Now I'm going to open this track solid, but before then I'm going to copy this subject that we turned off here. I'm going to paste it on this track solid composition. So let me turn off this solid. We don't need this solid, so let's turn on the subject. So now I'm going to position the subject properly and ensure that every part of the subject is in frame, is in this composition. So if you are not okay with this, you can still increase the size of the composition just to be safe. So I'm going to increase the height of this composition so that I'm sure the leg is not cut out. Then increase the width a bit around here. I think I'm okay with this. So I'm going to go back to this composition 1 and let me rename this subject comp. Let me say subject comp. Yeah, so I'm okay. Yeah, so let's just analyze, let's adjust this the size of this subject comp to fit the environment we are working on. So I'm going to scale this down a bit around there. So if I preview now, you will see that the subject is now reacting to the environment. So now that the subject is in sync with the environment, if you check Seyi Vibez video, you will see that there is a kind of movement in Seyi Vibez video. So let's try to mimic that movement, that subject movement. So to do that, I'm going to click on this subject comp and press P to open up position. So I'm going to animate the position. So I'm going to come to the beginning of the clip and put this keyframe here. So I'm going to move some frames forward and let this move back a bit. So I'm going to adjust the Z axis and let it move back, let it zoom in, then adjust the position a bit, probably move to the side. Then at the end of the clip, I want it to come back I want to adjust the Z axis to come back like this and move it back, say around here. Let me move it up a bit. So now let's highlight all these keyframes and right click and say ease. So it's going to it's going to make the animation very smooth. So if I preview, you see that we now have movement just like that Seyi Vibez video. And that will be all for this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching, for sticking with me to the end. I hope this video has been really helpful. I hope you were able to learn one or two things, and what's even more important than showing you how to make this tutorial is showing you the mistakes you need to avoid while making your video. I hope you were able to get one or two things from this. If you find this video helpful, please like this video, share with your friends. Let's build this community, let's build this channel, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.